Hello there you guys, welcome to another one of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current latest news. So if you do consider drop your likes on the video, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So essentially today on this video I'm going to give you a preview on the Liverpool Chelsea game at Anfield this weekend, Sunday 4:30 kickoff, and I'm also going to give you a preview on the Crystal Palace Manchester City game of course, which is think a 2 o'clock kickoff of course as well. So essentially, as we all do know guys, it's looking very, very tight at the top, between Liverpool and Manchester City, because as we all do know, it's obviously going to be either Liverpool or Manchester City, of course, who are going to win the league. Obviously, Liverpool are top, as we all know, at the moment. Obviously, Liverpool are 2 points ahead of Manchester City. Obviously, Liverpool have played a game more than Manchester City, and Manchester City, of course, have got a game in hand over Liverpool. So, essentially, if Manchester City win every game from now till the end of the season, obviously, Manchester City are champions, of course, as well. So, it's very, very close at the top. Liverpool, I think, this season have scored about 75 goals in the league. They've only suffered one defeat. And Manchester City, of course, I think that this season they've scored the most goals in the league of Man City. I think they've scored about 80 odd goals this season, of course, as well. So potentially, if I think the first one to slip up, it could be vital, and it could be decisive. Who can wins the Premier League of course this season, because obviously City are going for their 4th league title, because obviously they've already won 3, and obviously Liverpool are trying to get are going for their first Premier League title of course as well, because they haven't won it for nearly 3 decades of course as well. So we'll start with the Liverpool versus Chelsea preview, and as I did say, this is going to be a big game. This is Liverpool's difficultest game. If you look at their running, of course, this is their hardest game of course as well. Manchester City have still got to go to the likes of Old Trafford, my club Man United. Obviously they've still got to play Tottenham at home in the Etihad as well. So City have still got difficult games coming up as well. So we'll get onto the preview. Liverpool Chelsea of course, and I think Chelsea are capable, to be quite honest with you, of denting Liverpool's title hopes, because Chelsea most recently have been in a good vein of form. To be quite honest with you, Chelsea have been in a good vein of form. They've won the last 4 games in all competitions. Obviously, Liverpool will be more fresher than Chelsea, of course, because obviously Chelsea had to travel to Prague. Obviously, Chelsea beat Slavia Prague by 1-0, as we all know as well. I think Maurizio Sarri had made about 7 changes in that game. I don't think, of course, he started Eden Hazard in that game. Obviously, Chelsea, as I did say, fighting for the top 4 this season. They're sitting now 3rd in the league, and I think they have got a great chance of winning the Europa League as well of Chelsea. So obviously, they want Champions League football for next season, do Chelsea as well. So most recently, they have been in a good vein of form, Chelsea. But I think, obviously, there's been a lot of fans on Maurizio Sarri's back and all that, because obviously, they have had a lot of negative results this season, especially against the big teams, Chelsea, because the record against the big teams, hasn't been good this season. They lost at the likes of Manchester City 6-0. They lost to us in the Cup 2-0. They lost at the likes of Arsenal at the Emirates. They've lost at Tottenham, of course, as well. They got absolutely thrashed at Bournemouth. I know they're not a big team, but they still got thrashed at Bournemouth by 4 goals to 0. But I think Chelsea probably got to give Maurizio Sarri a bit more time. It's only his first season, of course, and he has got a different kind of philosophy as Maurizio Sarri, of course, as well. And it actually worked for him at Napoli. His philosophy was right at Napoli, but I think Chelsea have got to give him a bit more time. It's only his first season with Chelsea. So potentially, Eden Hazard, of course, as well. Eden Hazard, I think, is set to be in contention to play this Sunday against Liverpool. And we do know that's obviously, one of Chelsea's best players is Eden Hazard. And, there's been a lot of rumours, linking in to Real Madrid, Eden Hazard. And I think last summer, Eden Hazard, was considering leaving Chelsea, of course. Recent reports have come out saying that if Chelsea are to sanction him off this summer, Chelsea are demanding that they want around £100 million for Eden Hazard, because Real Madrid have been linked to him. Obviously, Zinedine Zidane is an admirer of Eden Hazard, of course, as well. But essentially now Zinedine Zidane's, I think, Eden Hazard, will want to make the move to Real Madrid this summer. But recent reports have been coming out saying that Real Madrid are preparing to offer him a 6-year deal worth around £110 million, and I think a weekly wage of around £350,000, something like that as well. Reportedly, Chelsea have tried to convince him to sign a new contract, and I think Chelsea are willing to offer him around £300,000 a week. But as it does stand at the moment, moment, Chelsea have not come to an agreement to get Eden Hazard a new contract. He still remains under contract with Chelsea till 2020, of course, as well. But he's been a good servant for Chelsea. I still highly rate him. You know, some people think he's overrated, but this is his 7th season now. You know, he's made over 300 appearances in all competitions. You know, he scored over 100 odd goals, so he's done really, really well in the Premier League, and he's grown, developed and flourished, you know, fantastically well as Eden Hazard. And potentially Chelsea wouldn't want to lose him, obviously, because they have got a transfer ban as well. I don't know if this transfer ban is going to be delayed or not, but as we all do know, Chelsea, of course, have appealed against the decision, of course, as well. So the way you've got to look at it is, you know, Liverpool could actually slip up against Chelsea because statistically, you know, Liverpool haven't got a great record against Chelsea, of course, as well. I think Liverpool haven't won any of their last 6 league games at Anfield, of course, against Chelsea. I think Chelsea have only lost twice in their last 16 meetings with Liverpool in all competitions. And I think the last time Chelsea lost at Anfield was back in 2012. So that was potentially, you know, 7 years ago, of course, as well. And actually Chelsea beat them earlier on in the season, of course, as well, in the FL Cup at Anfield. Of course, I think it was 1-1 at Stamford Bridge. But Liverpool, of course, are unbeaten in their last 37 Premier League games, of course, at Anfield, of course, as well. So potentially, statistically, Liverpool haven't got a great record against Chelsea. But this is going to be a big, big game, indeed. From a Liverpool perspective, you know, obviously, you know, they've been in a great run of form as well. You know, obviously winning comfortably 2-0 midweek in the Champions League against Porto as well. And actually, you know, Naby Keita has scored in his last 2 games for Liverpool. He scored his first goal for the club against Southampton last Friday, of course. Obviously, he scored in the game midweek against Porto, you know, Naby Keita. And, you know, Liverpool, you know, invested really, really well last summer. You know, if I'm going to be quite honest, you know, Liverpool invested, you know, really, really well last summer. I think they got about 5 new additions last summer. You know, obviously, they got Virgil van Dijk in January of last year. And, you know, he's addressed their defensive deficiencies, you know, fantastically well. You know, they've got a good goalkeeper in through Wellington. And, you know, Liverpool have also, you know, got a great attacking trio, you know, in Salah, Firmino and Mane, because they do combine very, very well together. And I think Salah is one of the best in the Premier League, of course. I don't think he's the best forward or winger, but I think in terms of an attacking intent, you know, Mohamed Salah is definitely, you know, one of the best indeed. His record against the big teams hasn't been great this season, you know, Mohamed Salah's, but I do really, really highly rate him, you know, to be quite honest with you. I think, you know, Sadio Mane is a really, really good player as well. I think he's a good player for Liverpool. I don't think he's on the same level as Mohamed Salah. It may take Mane at least a couple of years, you know, to emulate, you know, to Mohamed Salah's level, but Mane can still score goals. You know, he can also create opportunities as well. So I think he's a good outlet, you know, Sadio Mane, just like Mohamed Salah. I also think Firmino is very, very good. You know, he can score goals, he can provide, of course, as well, but potentially, as I did currently say, you know, this is going to be a big, big game for Liverpool, of course. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp is desperate, you know, to get that league title, of course, because obviously, you know, he hasn't got a great pedigree, Jurgen Klopp. You know, he hasn't won out yet with Liverpool. You know, he's been at Liverpool, you know, quite a few years. I think he did win a couple of titles at Borussia Dortmund, you know, did Jurgen Klopp. But Liverpool have come close on a couple of occasions to winning the league, but this is the best chance they've got, of course. Obviously, when they had Brendan Rodgers, was it back in the 2013-14 season, you know, Liverpool were really, really close that season. When everybody thought, you know, when they lost the likes of Luis Suarez, when they lost the likes of Coutinho, everyone thought, you know, Liverpool, you know, we're going to go downhill, you know, to be quite honest with you as well. So, in this game, I do think both teams will score in the game because Chelsea have got good players. You know, Liverpool, of course, have got good players. Chelsea obviously will want to invest this summer, of course, themselves because obviously they didn't get that replacement for Fabregas, you know, back in January, of course. And obviously, if Eden Hazard goes, obviously Chelsea are going to want a replacement for him as well. There's been rumours that Callum Hudson-Odoi, you know, could still leave this summer as well. I don't know if Callum Hudson-Odoi, you know, will be featuring in the game on Sunday for Chelsea, but they did get Gonzalo Higuain back in January, did Chelsea, of course. They also got Christian Pulisic in as well. Well, I think that they initially got Gonzalo Higuain on loan, didn't they? They do have the option to buy him permanently this summer. And Christian Pulisic has obviously been loaned back to Borussia Dortmund. Chelsea agreed a £47 million fee, so he's going to be officially a Chelsea player in the new season, I think, of course, as well. So yeah, it's going to be a very, very good mouth-watering clash indeed, and really, you know, it could go either way, but potentially Liverpool's home record has been absolutely fantastic indeed. So potentially we'll go now to the Crystal Palace versus Manchester City preview, of course, as well. You know, obviously Manchester City, you know, will want to bounce back, you know, from that defeat, you know, they suffered against Tottenham on Tuesday in the Champions League quarter-final first leg. But to be fair, you know, Pep Guardiola, you know, did rotate his squad a little bit. You know, he did rest quite a few players, did Pep Guardiola, but I think City are more than capable of turning that 1-goal deficit around in the second leg at the Etihad, of course, as well. Potentially, you know, City, you know, missed a penalty, you know, against Tottenham midweek. It was a Sergio Aguero penalty, but obviously, you know, Sergio Aguero had missed it. And potentially, you know, City were very, very poor against Tottenham, you know, to be quite honest. So City will be looking, you know, to get back to winning ways. Of course, obviously, City do beat Crystal Palace, of course, at Selhurst Park. Manchester City do go back top by 1 point, of course, until Liverpool play Chelsea. But potentially, this might not be easy, you know, for Manchester City, you know, because Crystal Palace can be, you know, a pretty decent team sometimes. You know, Crystal Palace, you know, did beat them at the Etihad Stadium earlier on in the season. That was a great victory for Crystal Palace because potentially, as we all know, guys, you know, City are really, really good at the Etihad Stadium. You know, they seldom lose, you know, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, it was 0-0 at Selhurst Park last season as well. Obviously, Crystal Palace are fighting, you know, to finish in the top half of the table. I think they're sitting 12th in the league at the moment, are Crystal Palace. So I probably would say City, you know, will probably win the game, you know, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, City will look to get back to winning ways, and City still believe, you know, that they can win the quadruple. Of course, obviously now they're in the FA Cup final. Obviously, you know, they've already won the they've already won the Carabao Cup already. Obviously, they're in the title race. Of course, well, I don't think they'll win the 4. I think they'll end up getting knocked out of the Champions League. To be quite honest with you, but City are capable of, you know, turning that 1-goal deficit around in the second leg. Of course, against Tottenham at the Etihad Stadium. Of course, as well. Tottenham will have concerns. I think Harry Kane did go off injured midweek. As well, I don't know if that injury is severe or not as well. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I think probably, you know, Manchester City, you know, will end up beating Crystal Palace, to be quite honest. But as I did say, if Liverpool do keep winning, obviously, you know, it's going to intensify more pressure on Man City, of course, as well. But as I did say, I can't really choose. I think Liverpool now are probably going to win the league, you know, if you look at the running and all that. But in terms of the experience, obviously Manchester City have got a lot more of the experience. You know, they've spent a lot of money, they've invested a lot of money, of course, and Man City, obviously, they've already won 3 Premier Leagues. Obviously, they're going for the 4th Premier League at Manchester City, of course, as well. But Pep Guardiola spent a hell of a lot of money. You know, he's I think he spent like £1 billion in all his career, but more than half of that has been spent on that Manchester City team, of course, as well. And obviously, you know, it's very, very close this season, of course, because obviously last season, you know, it wasn't close at all. Obviously, you know, City, you know, last season scored 106 goals, won 32 games out of 38, and of course reached 100 points last season. I think they won the league by about 19 points, was it, last season? So it wasn't close at all last season, of course. But Pep Guardiola is a great manager. You know, he's emulated the football he did at Bayern Munich, he's emulated the football he did at Barcelona, and he has brought it to Manchester City, of course, as well. So I think Manchester City have got too much quality, and I probably do think they've got too much for Crystal Palace, to be quite honest with you. I don't think Kevin De Bruyne played midweek for Manchester City. I think he was rested. I also think, if I'm right, was Leroy Sané rested as well. So yeah, he did rest quite a few players. Against Tottenham on Tuesday, of course, as well. So essentially, yeah, that's your Liverpool Chelsea preview, your Crystal Palace Manchester City preview, of course, as well. So if one of these teams slip up, if Manchester City or Liverpool slip up this weekend, it could be decisive who's going to win the league, of course. Well, to be honest with you, I'm not really asked to win the league. You all know me now, I'm a Manchester United supporter, and I'm not really bothered, to be quite honest with you. If I had to choose out of them, it'd obviously, you know, be Manchester City, because I really, really hate Liverpool. But there again, I don't want Manchester City to win the quadruple, so potentially I'm not really bothered, you know, to be quite honest with you, as well. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing to my channel, as always, guys. And as I did say, you know, Chelsea are capable of beating them. Chelsea have regained their form lately, as you all do currently know. And Chelsea need to give Maurizio Sarri a bit more time, of course, as well. So potentially, if their transfer ban doesn't delay, as I said, you know, they can't do any transfer activity this summer. They can't do any transfer activity in the next January window. So they can't do any transfer activity till the summer of 2020, of course, as well. Maybe Callum Hudson-Odoi may feature in the game against Liverpool, not too sure, because he hasn't really had the opportunity, you know, to play in the Premier League, and I think he's got strong reservations about his game time, you know, Callum Hudson-Odoi. He most recently, you know, made his senior debut for England, I think, you know, did Odoi as well, and obviously not too long ago he made his first start in the Premier League, of course, well, but he's still only young, he's Callum Hudson-Odoi, of course, as well. So yeah, I think Liverpool-Chelsea probably be a draw, in my opinion. I think Chelsea are capable of beating him, but I think it could end up a draw, and I do think Manchester City will end up, you know, beating Crystal Palace, you know, quite comfortably, you know, to be quite honest with you, as well. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel, as I said. Do consider subscribing, as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon, guys. Thanks for watching.